And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that counts.
That does count. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was actually thinking the other day. So our past couple episodes were reacting to Summer Games Fest stuff.
Yeah.
And I swear you didn't have unique intros, but I might be making that up.
Ooh, that's good. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I have to go back and listen.
You can.
Yeah,
that might be a
that might be GG. But anyways,
I definitely did on the one where we recorded together, but on Discord maybe not. That's a bonus. The bonus ones count.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I don't know.
That's fine.
Anyways, yeah. So check out those episodes. We reacted to Summer Games Fest. It was interesting. There was a lot of stuff. I do miss like E3. E3 used to be summer, right?
Yeah.
It was like where everything was together, because now every studio like does their own thing, which like makes
hard
sense.
to stay up on everything. Yeah, for sure.
But it's like it seems just very disconnected.
It seems like it's a lot of shows with like kind of every show might have like one cool thing, but you lose the hey, here's an E3 show with just nothing but bangers.
Right.
Now, on one hand, I get it. It's like maybe smaller games, smaller developers get their time to shine and everything, and that's good. But like there was a time when you'd be like, here's the next Halo, here's the next Gears, here's the next Killzone, here's the it's like here's a new console, like all this crap, and it's just like now it's I'm just gonna wait for this drip feed of stuff as people are ready to show it, and like here we'll show you like Dragon Age probably would have hit harder if it was like in a sizzle reel, which is like, and this is coming out, and this is coming out. Like, here's all these cool things. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough because, like you said, you're like, if there's a main show, everything's concentrated.
Yeah,
and then you just get those big hits, and it's really exciting. But it seems like on the showcases, like, okay, the first thing they're going to show is going to be like their second biggest thing, and then the last thing they show is going to be their biggest thing. Generally,
usually,
right? So it's like, and then the middle is just. There's some interesting things here and there, but I don't know. Yeah, it seems like, and there's a lot of stuff that's just like, oh, this game's coming out, and here's a CGI, and we know nothing about the game.
Here's a CGI. It's coming out in 2025 or later.
Just a title thing.
This will get delayed 25 times.
What was floating around on X this week was Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah,
was announced like 5 years ago or something. Just like a little title thing.
Yeah, well, that was when that's before Starfield came out, and that was just them saying like, hey, just so you know, we're doing the thing. And it's like, okay, cool. Is this because you were getting bombarded with how bad all this other stuff that you've been putting out is? And
yeah.
That's a little
that was like Fallout 76.
Yep. Yeah, it was Fallout 76. Technically Bethesda, that was Redfall too, I believe, right? Like it's an arcade. Well, I don't know if that falls.
Is that a subset
of? I could be wrong there.
No, I thought Xbox bought them before that came out.
They did. But what I'm saying is like Redfall was poor. I think that was Arcane who did Prey, which falls under Bethesda as a publisher. I could be wrong there, but I don't know. It's just like they weren't seen in a super great light. So it's just
I don't think they were at a high point. Although they're doing a lot better now because the Fallout TV show, saved them.
Yep.
And like Fallout, there was all these Steam records that I saw, like. Mm-hmm. It was like top 10. It was like trending top 10, like player count, which is crazy because these games are like super old. So it's like Fallout 4, New Vegas 3, even 76.
76 has a decent following. Yeah,
right. So, how that game started it blows my mind. But again, it is like people wonder, right? How do they keep getting away with blah, blah, blah? Like games get released without content and then, they catch up on the back end. This is how.
Yeah.
You're playing the game.
Yep.
There's a lot of people playing the game. I think they're probably making money, like good money off of Fallout 76.
Yeah.
And that game released without NPCs.
Right. Yeah.
Like, dude, it's our fault.
It
Not
is.
there.
Like,
they're getting away with it.
We have a very short memory.
Yes.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
But that's the new trend as well. Not to keep jumping to different things, but it's like, oh, have a video game franchise? Here comes the TV show to just revitalize or boost or whatever, man.
You're giving me a good segue here, and I had another point, but I'll take the segue route. So Chelsea and I started watching Twisted Metal, so I'm going to rewatch it with her because we're just looking for shows we can watch together.
Yeah.
but like Twisted Metal, Last of Us, and then I just watched Halo.
Yeah, right.
I don't think Halo's a bad TV show.
It's terrible.
Have you seen it?
I've seen some of it.
Halo, so here's the thing. If you go in not knowing anything about Halo, I think it's a good sci-fi show with a very high production value. Like I think some of the CGI for a lot of like the elites and the Covenant are just like very good. Yeah. I think that seeing how like plasma bolts like what they do to a human body is grotesque and like very realistic. Like, I mean, early spoilers for like, I think episode 1, like kids die and like you see them just getting melted. And it's like very jarring and very like, these guys are brutal. Yeah. And it's crazy because like throughout the entire, at least first episode, you're just like, oh, okay, like Master Chief's can come in to save the day. And like, it's just like, no, like it's just like, it subverts some expectations. It makes it very brutal. If you know anything about the Halo universe, you know that like all these planets are getting glassed and stuff. So it's like there is this kind of like very defeated thing. But like humanity is like you're underdogs. But like I think what they did with Master Chief, and it's like, oh, he takes his helmet off and it's all this other thing. It's like it humanizes him like way more than I guess what he's supposed to. And they make good on it and they kind of explain like all this stuff. But I think it's interesting, man. I don't know. Like maybe I just had such low expectations that it surprised me, but I think generally speaking, like it's a fine TV show. I think with really good production value. I think really good acting, honestly. Like the acting's fine. Like it's decent. And they have like new story threads that like I'm going to be honest, like I think are better than the ones in the video game, where at least it's more interesting. It gives it a little bit more context to a lot of that stuff. So I don't know. For everyone hating Halo, the TV show, I understand the hatred for sure. I don't think that should deter people that are just like want a cool sci-fi show. Yeah. It's better than a lot of sci-fi shows. It's a lot of like they just come out and it's just like, yeah, okay, like this is what it's on par with everything else. Yeah. So I don't know.
No, I think
I just say that.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you get enjoyment out of it. I think expectation probably has a lot to do with that. I think, right? Expectations just, I think these days just get so, it's just so extreme. Like people either think something's going to be the next whatever, or they have not, like they think it's going to suck.
But like, right? What are you going to say? Right? You know what I mean? Like Halo isn't like this crazy, like it's a cool story. It's a cool video game campaign.
Yeah, but the narrative in Halo has never been the selling point.
Exactly. So to have something, and it's the same thing with Twisted Metal, where it's like it's not good. Right. So like what do you do at that point? You know what I mean? Like if you're, I don't know, you're taking a property that is a good video game where it's like you're just going through a level, boom, 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 boom. Here's a little cutscene, go through another level, boom, boom, boom. Like you're injecting a lot of story. Yeah, like
no, I know there's like books and stuff. And there's a lot of lore, but again, it's
so
not
many new
like
characters. And they're all new characters, but they're all from either like concept art or scrapped. Like they have a list of every Spartan. Like I was looking this up because I'm like, am I just forgetting who Silver Team is and all? Like why aren't they using Master Chief's team from 5 or 4 or whatever? And it's like, oh no, like this is just on a sheet of paper. They have everyone listed out. These are all Spartan, like these are Master Chief level ones. They're not like Spartan 3s or whatever. So it's just like, I don't know, man. Like Halsey, I think is really well done. Like she skates that line perfectly of like, she's doing all this stuff, but she's like essentially a monster, which they explore a little bit in 4, but they do a very good job. I think Cortana's great, which I think they got Cortana's voice actress.
No, nice.
So like she's really well done. Like that interaction's good. Like I don't know. I
think it's important just to take it for what it is, right?
100%.
Like it's not going to be like a revolutionary production. It's just cool. Like to your point, the games, the best part of it is like the gameplay, right? And so how do you mirror that for the TV show? Like the action scenes, is that equivalent? And like you said, if it looks great and is cool and like it is what it is, like just have a good time with it.
If I took one of the fight scenes where Master Chief just fighting a few. I think it's actually he's fighting brutes. I was gonna say elites, but I think he's fighting brutes on this. And I showed it to you. You'd be like, "That's pretty sick."
Yeah,
like that's better.
People
than
have
any
wanted that
video game
forever
thing.
too, because they had like the. Do you remember the live action little video they had?
Yep.
People loved that.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, make a TV show. Like they've wanted this.
They put them in this universe, and the movement is so good.
Yeah,
like and I have to expect most of it is CGI. Like any type of actual like action movement has to be CGI.
Right.
But it's so believable.
Yeah.
That like I'm in it.
Yeah,
like it's perfect. So I don't know. I
just think I don't know. To me, and I haven't seen it, but Chief has always been like the less character from Chief is better in my opinion.
To some extent, yeah.
Because like everyone's headcanon is going to be better than what they do. Like as soon as he reveals his helmet, as soon as he starts having sex with people.
That was a little weird. Like
that
they
was so weird, bro.
They explain it.
I know they explain it, but it's like that's so cringe, dude. Like Chief's a virgin. Let's just keep it that way.
I will say that watching him the entire time, it's straight up like, what's his name? Who plays Punisher? Do you remember his name?
No, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Bernthal, I think.
Sure.
Someone. It's literally that guy. It's like Punisher running around. So if you imagine him, he's always cut somewhere. He always has blood on his face. He's always fighting something. Very similar face structure.
Does he have the helmet off a lot?
Season 2, and again, this is part of the story. He just doesn't have his armor, which seems crazy, but he gets it at the end, and then it's like, oh shit, Master Chief's back type of thing.
Yeah.
But again, it's all based off the story. It all makes sense in the context of that story.
Sure.
I think it would actually be kind of cool to have a Halo game where it's like, okay, like I'm not saying show his face or even like make him talk all the time, but like he was talking a whole lot in Infinite and interacting and stuff. And it's just
he was
like
talking a lot more in Infinite.
This is a better story than anything in Infinite. So like I don't know why,
I don't know. Halo is just, dude, ever since Bungie left, it just hasn't been.
It's a slower thing.
It hasn't been there.
It's
although I did like Reach a lot. And I think Reach's story is actually better than any of the main trilogy. That might be a hot take.
But why? Because it's a little bit more human. You have a little bit more like buddy.
Yeah.
Then the Halo TV show is more Reach than the normal stuff.
Yeah, but I think maybe the issue is just get away from Chief at that point.
But you have that. That's what I'm trying to say is like you have Chief and his team. And the story is just as much about his team and what they're going through than it is about Chief. Obviously, it's Master Chief. But he's the main protagonist.
Yeah, the thing I guess I'm trying to say is like when you touch the beloved character and start manipulating, that's when people have a problem.
I think I am more connected to this Chief than...
That's fine. I'm just telling you, like, that's why people get upset.
Absolutely.
Like,
but
they have in their head what Chief's supposed to be.
Right.
And then when you start messing with that, people have an issue. So, like, maybe it's better to stay away from that.
But at the expense of exploring something deeper. And I'm always guilty of this.
Anything about Chief is deep. He's like
it wasn't
the silent protagonist. Like he is the guy
exactly
who's just he's like one step above Doom guy.
Exactly. But why? Like, why is it a kind of this bad thing to? Because like this is its own universe. It's already kind of on its own trajectory.
Yeah.
But why is it bad to take something that like? Yeah, I know that at some point there was like a design decision, but like. A lot of silent protagonists are just straight up like based off of the tech, based off of like here's the time of video games. This is what video games are.
Yeah.
Why is it bad to explore like if they pulled in half of the interactions or the conflict or the story arcs or different things like that from the TV show into the game would have been better for it. I'm not saying it's like a 1-to-1, but I think that like the TV show, like they're not even on Halo. I think they might touch down at like the finale. Like I'm on the finale. So it's like
Halo isn't like
it's 2 seasons like Halo Ring.
Yeah,
like they're not on the Halo
first
Ring.
Game.
It is strictly the Covenant and the humans essentially arms racing to get to this thing to like control it, which is very much part of the game.
The first game takes place on the Halo ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Reach, which is why Reach is cool, like you're on Reach. You see Reach fall in the TV show.
Yeah, it's a whole setup.
So it's like you're getting all of these games, all of the backstory. So it follows
the same main beats.
More or less. Yeah. But it fills in so much of like, here's where Chief is coming from. Here's all this stuff. Here's why he is like this very silent protagonist locked down. In the TV show, they have like an inhibitor chip placed in their back that kind of like they're just soldiers and brutes and things like that. But then they explore how that works and what happens if Chief takes his out, but then his team doesn't, and now they're clashing because it's like, okay, well, like, what are you doing? Why are you quote unquote like malfunctioning? Basically, it's a cool premise.
Right.
Again, I understand it's very different than Halo, but to be this like stagnant like thing of just like, no, this is the story, it's the Covenant, and like there's literally a human on the Covenant ship that's like for the Covenant, which I know is wild, and that's part of the reason why people were, but like, and that's anyway, but like they do an okay job. I think my only criticism, and this is more of a Plex thing, the last couple episodes where it's very heavy Covenant discussion because they talk in their own language, obviously. John's download of the episodes don't have the subtitles of the Covenant.
Oh, so, wow.
Like,
so you have no
I can't
idea
understand it. And then I turn on the English subtitles. It just says, like, speaking Swahili or Sinhili or whatever their language is.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, they're yelling at each other. They're angry, but I don't know, like, what they're actually saying.
That happens to me a lot with like anime.
They did change Cortana, and I think that's my only thing where I'm not against the new actress they got, but it's the voice actress of Cortana. So Cortana sounds like Cortana, right?
Yeah.
Like and that's good.
Right.
They did a CGI Cortana in the first one that I actually started really liking, and then they got rid of her and we're just going to make it an actress, but the actress looks very different. So that's a little tough, and it's not off of Halsey. So you know how Halsey like made it in her own image, like there are changes, and some people are probably screaming or already turned this off. But I think that you do yourself a disservice not to just be like, hey, what if, and check it out. Because think about this new Gears thing. See how I'm like segueing?
Well,
here?
let me ask you this before you go to that.
Sorry,
like, should it just be a different thing then?
I think.
At what point do you make so many changes? And I'm not saying there is this many changes, but at like what point is it just like we're doing something different and we just are using the Halo title?
But the Halo title it's cool. Like everything that they're doing in there are still following the same macro beats.
Yeah.
It's just all the little stuff is like a completely different subset. And I never read the book, so maybe some of this stuff kind of sneaks into the book a little bit and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm not saying it hits on every cylinder and it's like the greatest TV show
ever. No.
But
it comes across that way sometimes when you're in a position where you have to defend something that a lot of people have criticism of.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we know what the criticism is. Here's the other side. Yeah. I got what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Take it at face value, like you said, and I think you would have a cool time. Like, if the CGI was bad or if it looked like so many like video game movie things just seem like cosplay. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Like if you take like take any anime, and this is a little bit different because it's like cartoon going to live action, that's tough.
Yes.
But like it's just cosplay.
Yes.
This universe is I think this honestly feels more faithful to the Halo aesthetic and like what people are wearing and different things. Like there are some instances where I'm like, hey, why are you using Nate's gonna kill me, a Glock here instead of a UNSC pistol? Sometimes people have like different guns. I don't know if it's actually probably not a Glock, but sometimes that. But like, it's super cool when like they pick up the battle rifle and it's a freaking battle rifle and you're watching them just go through and reloading and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like when Master Chief's like the camera pulls out and you're seeing him just annihilate these brutes or like fighting and getting like smacked around, but like doing cool stuff.
Yeah, I think there's.
And then going to first person, and you actually see like him with the gun. It's neat. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it gives like the games, due to like this slow, methodical nature of the gameplay, doesn't really let you experience that. Whereas this is like you see Chief's power.
Yeah.
In retrospect of like everyone else, like he's a boss. So like, yeah, I think that's cool. And yeah, I agree with that statement. I think something like Last of Us obviously is the best because that just lends itself to live action perfectly. Because there's live action, like zombies stuff is always very good live action.
If you want a 1-to-1, then yeah.
But I think that like Halo, the live action aspect of it seems to allow the more grittiness that has always been prevalent.
Dude, watching a plasma bolt hit into a person and just melt through them, it does not like that. That's
you can't capture that.
That's terrifying
in the game, or at least you couldn't. Like you probably could, like now, like as the technology's gotten better, you could probably. Right. But I think they still stick with that old model of like your shield's getting hit, and they
have. But that's the thing is like they have all those sound effects, and stuff. So it's like it all fits.
They're trying to capture both.
They're throwing grenades like it's going out of style, just like the games. They have the warthog. They have they're holding the mini gun, like the mini cannon and stuff. Like they're doing all of the stuff, but it feels very grounded. And I don't know. It gets a bad rap. I don't think it deserves as bad of a rap.
It's not a masterpiece.
No, I give it like a 7.
Yeah,
but a 7 is good, especially when you're talking about a video game TV show.
Yeah, it's hard to make those adaptations.
Like, Last of Us is very well shot and very well done, but it's also like pretty 1-to-1 with the story. So it's like, okay, well, like here's how this is going to go down.
What do you think's better? TV show.
I was more entertained with Halo.
But you don't think it's a better show, do you?
I think, well, yeah, but when you're talking production value and acting and different things like that, Last of Us is like, here is a very well-made thing.
Yeah.
So me personally, and I'm not going to defend, like if people are like, I disagree, like, sure, I'm not going to defend it. But when you look at Twisted Metal and when you look at Halo, I think people tweaking things while still keeping it somewhat within the universe, but making it interesting enough and funny, like not funny, but like we were just watching Sweet Tooth, so he's funny.
Yeah.
Watching these things enough where like you really shouldn't get a TV show out of this thing, like this property, but somehow you pull it off. I give that more credit than just like, yeah, Last of Us was really well done, really well shot, really well acted, but you got an expert cast, you have a really good script, and it's already basically a movie.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you put it on the screen, like, and they did do like that episode 3 where it's like, okay, like here's Ron Swanson falling in love with some dude, like, cool. One of the best episodes that's not in the game. I get that, and that like, but that's why that's so applauded is because that was out of nowhere and so well done. So to do something like that, why can't you also have something where it's like, oh, I never thought that Master Chief would like. Master Chief is Master Chief, right? Whether he has an armor or not. So, like, whenever he has no armor, but he's grabbing a gun and running straight into a group of elites and grunts and everything else and just destroying people because he's just this battle-hardened guy that doesn't care, like, he still acts like Master Chief. So, like, I don't know. Like, I just think overall we need to be more open. I mean, myself included, we need to be more open where it's like, hey, we're just going to experiment with stuff and just see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. But then, like, are people going to take Gears? So the other thing would be like Gears of War.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to say how, like, everyone's really excited for that. Like, oh, E-Day, it's prequel, Marcus Phoenix and Dom, and like all back. And like, I don't want to say I'm upset with it because I'm sure it's going to be like fine. It'll be a Gears game, whatever. But it's like, that's how far out. Like at best, it's going to come out in 2025. Probably get pushed because Microsoft can't afford to put out a bad game, right? Like they need to like have a banger, so they'll take the time, probably, hopefully.
One would think.
But then, how long until Gears 6? Where I'm coming from, where I'm like, I just kind of want to see what the story is, or I want to like keep moving forward and seeing like how this goes,
right?
that's where I was like, I know I wanted a Gears game. That's not the Gears. So it's like, I don't want to seem like ungrateful for it, but it's like, cool. Like now I'm going to be 40 before the next Gears comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough. I'm not as invested as you. I like Gears. I'll play them, but I haven't even played 4 and 5, although we started 4, and it's okay.
Yeah, we only got one session in, but I mean,
well, we were like cooking through. I think we're in like chapter 3 or 4.
I think we started chapter 3. Yeah,
so it's like we're cooking, but yeah, I don't know. It's prequels are weird, man. Like to me, when you're going to tell a narrative, dude, there should always be a purpose. Mm-hmm. I've said this before, but that is like the most important thing in my mind. Like, what is the purpose? Like, you need to sit back and like, do we have something to say?
Yeah.
If no, then we should not make it. But the problem is there's a financial component to it, like you said, and Microsoft needs Gears to fucking keep them alive. Not to keep them alive, but like they need Gears. And so that's my fear, where it's like, you know, you get like a Judgment-esque spin-off, not spin-off, but like side game that's not in the main line, and Judgment like was bad. And they tried a lot of different things, but I don't know. There's not that focus sometimes.
But here's
it's like,
that's a perfect example of like, okay, you're going back to E-Day. So are you effectively removing any character growth from Marcus? Or are you redefining who Marcus is from the beginning?
Yeah.
So how can you...
You got to be careful with that.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, Master Chief from Halo 1, silent protagonist for the most part, very gruff, very like, I'm a man's man type of thing.
Yeah.
But so was Marcus Phoenix in Gears 1. So if this is predating Gears 1...
Yeah.
He should be...
You can go about it like a couple ways, though. Maybe... There's a reason why he got to that point, and he wasn't quite there yet. And then there's like a defining moment or experience that gets him to that. Because he's very jaded, obviously. So maybe he, there's potential, but you have to be very careful. And I think that's right. Like, it's tough, dude. Like, when you're talking about a game that came out, like, when did Gears 1 come out? Like 15 years ago, 20 years ago? It's hard to go back and think in that perspective of like, what was the thought process when Gears 1 was being made? Like, what was the sentiment that was trying to be conveyed? Because with a prequel, you have to try and capture that because you're in that time period again. But it's hard, like, because in the real world, obviously so much time's passed and there's been so much growth. Like, I feel like Star Wars, for example, like that's one of the biggest prequels that people have seen. We've talked about this before, where it's like, dude, even just the atmosphere is off.
Yep.
Like the technology shinier, newer. It's like, it's really tough to think in that perspective of like, because the game's going to look better than Gears 1. So that kind of, and that's to nobody's fault, but it's just to say that like kind of takes you out of it a little bit. It kind of, it's tough to weave those two things together because one was so long ago.
Right.
Like when you're talking about going from episode 3 to episode 4 in Star Wars, it's like the tones are very different.
Yeah.
How it's shot, very different. It's like, that's a tall order. That's a tough task.
I mean, even look at like enemies and things like that. With Gears 1, there was a very limited enemy pool that you were fighting against, right?
Yep.
And then towards the end of, I think it was towards the end of Gears 1, whenever like the Lambent show up and they're like exploding now and stuff, it's like, oh, that's
exactly.
Like,
you don't have any Lambent,
right? But
you don't have any,
So it's like
special,
no new guns,
right?
Chronologically speaking, so it's like it's all old stuff. So like, do you completely redo everything? And it might be fine. I hope I'm eating my words, and that's fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. Like, it's like, okay, what's the arsenal going to look like? Yeah, you can do like.
Retro this.
Yeah. But what happens when the retro guns are like way cooler, way more advanced, let's say, can do more? It's like, why would they get rid of this? And I know it seems minute, but it's all about like immersion and like making sense. And I think that's important. And I know that Gears isn't the most like convoluted or like whatever story, but and maybe this is just a me thing, but to me, I just like things to make sense. It's like neatly...
Sure. Yeah.
compiled and like, okay, this feels like a prequel. This feels like, but then you run the risk of like, is this boring? Because we have much more technology. We can do more.
Yeah.
But it should be less than Gears 1.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, is this a soft reboot of Gears?
I don't think so.
Probably not. But what I'm saying is, like,
doubt it.
they've already said, like,
way.
oh, no, we're not going to give up on the Gears story. It's like, okay. But, like, this it just feeds into this industry trend of, like, we're too scared or we don't have an idea, so let's remake, let's re-release, let's fall back to stuff that's already been proven out.
Right.
And it's just like time and time again, like they're already talking of like, oh, let's remake 2 of Halo, or let's I forget what thing it was where it's like we're going to
again.
Yeah, but it's like it's just graphic jumps. That's all it is. Like it's not like I mean they could remake 3, you know. Like, it's been long enough. You could redo 3, redo 4, like, whatever. But it's just these things of, like, at what point are they just going to say, F it, we're going to remake Halo, or we're going to remake Gears? Yeah. So I think that this is Microsoft kind of putting their foot in the thing and being like, all right, well...
But that's what you want, dude. You want them to be the TV show.
Well, no. I'm talking more of, like, okay, hey, look at Call of Duty. Modern Warfare, and it's like we're basically redoing everything.
The more time that passes with that, the more I just absolutely hate that.
Because
we had something, and I can always go back to the original. But to me, when you do that, you're kind of paving over the original in a way.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean.
But that's what
like as future generations come into it, when you say Modern Warfare, they're going to think the new ones.
Yep.
Right.
When you say Final Fantasy VII,
I disagree with that.
The new generation, eventually, that will be their game. They're not going to go play the original.
That is different.
It's a remake.
It's not, though.
But it's slightly different.
No.
Okay.
No, see, this is why I think what they did is extremely clever.
Okay.
Because it's a sequel.
Fair enough. Okay.
So, because, yes, they will play those games first.
Yeah.
But then when they get in the weeds of it, if it draws them in... And that's a totally different discussion where it's like, I think they went the completely other direction where it's like they didn't pave over it. It's kind of like a pipeline back to the original.
Sure.
So, like, for example, my experience with it is like I never played the original and then I just played those. And then as I've like unpacked what they're trying to do, I'm like, oh shit, like I want to go back and experience the original. Because of what they're trying to do. So I think that's different, but I think it's fair. I think you make a fair argument.
I'm just saying in this day and age, it's easier to rehash or, oh, here's a true vision now that we have the technology of basically just kind of like dusting off something that we knew was well received and giving it a fresh coat of paint. Like the video you sent me where it's like, here's your Resident Evil 4. It's really good. Yeah, because Resident Evil 4 was really good. Here's your Dead Space. Really good because... Dead Space is really good. Yep. Yeah, you change some things. You do like sure. And I think Gears, like if I was Microsoft and I was looking at what was happening with Call of Duty, and it's like cool, they just not even retcon, but it's like here's a new universe or a new telling of it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We already did that with Halo just from the TV show, but that's fine. Now it's like, well, let's try Gears of War, and what happens if E-Day is really successful? Cool. Can we like just build it out in a like this is basically like here's the new thing.
Line
like do I think that they're going to then jump forward to Gear 6? Probably not.
No, I think I know what you're saying. I don't get that. I could
be 100% wrong
from this.
I just like
I don't think that's the direction they're going. I think Gears is very well established, especially because they have so many games. You have 5 games. That's going to be really that's like a 30-year roadmap if you're going to go through all of them
it's
again.
Same with Halo, and they just
but I don't think
Halo's different.
I don't think they're doing that.
Well, not anymore because they dropped the ball on it.
When were they doing that? They were going to go back and remake Halo.
What I'm saying, no. What I'm saying is they got so far in Halo, so you got to Halo 5. Yeah. So you had your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Oh, 5 got a little weird. We don't really know what we're doing. We're just going to call it Halo Infinite. Okay, here you go.
Yeah, but I think it's a little different because Halo really got away from them. And
so
Halo...
Gears.
I don't think so. I mean, you think Gears 5 is worse than Halo 5?
I really want you to play it.
You're the one who champions this stuff, where you're like, oh, I'm interested in what's happening currently in the Gears storyline.
But it's still convoluted, and I could see how it got away from them.
Yeah, but Halo 5 was just bad.
Sure.
I don't think anyone was like, oh man, super excited for Halo 6. Like, can't wait to see what happens.
No.
Chief and
absolutely.
blah, blah, blah.
I completely agree. But I think that it's easier to be like, what if we just went back to like
fix it all? I guess I get what you're saying, but
I think we will see a remake of Halo
eventually. Yeah, maybe.
No, I think before. Soon. I think that would be next. I don't think we get a Halo 7 or anything like that. I think the next Halo they announce. So here's my prediction. This is like wild, right? Okay. But like, I think you get a Halo remake. And I think they actually bill it as a reimagining of the Halo universe.
Yeah.
And I think you get it on the next, like that's how they sell the new console.
Yeah.
That would be my, like that's my wild prediction, whatever.
Sure.
But I think that if they're looking at stuff and you're looking at the lifespan of the consoles, I would be surprised if it wasn't like you have Halo, you have Gear. Like if you look at like what they have in development, what they're doing, it's just like, here you go. This is Microsoft's back, baby. They're just trying to front load everything. Here's your new Forza, here's whatever.
Yeah. I
think that's a wrong way of going, but like, a new, Halo could be cool.
But I don't know. It's I mean, this is the conversation we had. So like when we were watching, to come full circle, when we were watching, Summer Games Fest, we're watching all these, I mean, it's just, if we take a time machine back, it was like in the heyday of a lot of this stuff, Gears was new. Halo was new. These were new properties.
Right.
And it's a lot to ask to make something new and it's going to be a banger. That's a huge risk. There's a huge financial risk, but it's just, it sucks because companies are just not willing to do that. Why would you do that if we can just remake something or have the next number in the series? We can guarantee profits.
Right.
It's just a cycle. And again, it falls on the fucking consumer where it's like, we're the ones paying for it. If we stopped paying for it, they'd have to adjust. But people just aren't. They want the next Halo. Like, people, games are more expensive. People can only buy a certain amount. So it's like, okay, well, am I going to buy the next Gears, a franchise that I love and I know that I'm, or am I going to take a risk on X, Y, or Z?
Right.
For $70. It's like, that's a good point too. So it's a really tough situation, but I just wish that we were in a circumstance in which we can take those risks. And like you said, that's where the indie games come in. That's where the innovation's coming in and the creativity and newness.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's something that was special about having a AAA game be a new property.
But what if you took that AAA property where it's like, I just like the Halo universe, but you're giving it a fresh coat of, not a fresh coat of paint so much as like a complete overhaul of like, we'll try something new there.
It's still Halo. It's still something
but Final Fantasy did it. You know what I mean? Like Final Fantasy did the thing where it was like, oh, they subverted all expectations and they put something out that everyone loved. Even the most hardcore Final Fantasy people really love these games. And you're
talking about 7?
Yeah, like the Rebirth and remake, where it's just like you're getting away with that.
I think I think it was a little bit divided. No,
of liking it or not liking it.
Yeah, I think
generally
people
well received.
Generally
like
thought the game was good.
Yeah,
but I thought what they did, which I think what they did was genius, personally. But people disagree and they think it's too convoluted. That's totally fair. They try to get the best of both worlds,
right? But like,
very convoluted way.
But you could do that, right? So like,
sure.
If E-Day, Marcus and Dom fly through a wormhole and they fall into a
sure,
a
yeah.
If you
go the Final Fantasy time bullshit, different realities, sure. But that is not Gears at all. At least in Final Fantasy, like crazy shit like that is not out of the realm of like the tone of that setting.
I think the thing that kills me is, and honestly, I think Infinite did a very good job on the Halo side, where there's actually a bigger, badder alien. Oh, there's actually a even bigger, badder alien. Like,
yeah,
that just gets tiresome. Where it's like, here's a whole new set of enemies.
That's everything.
Yeah, it is.
It's every action.
So that's why I understand. Like, okay, what happens if you just pare it back and try to like read? I get it,
and then you can, you can take what worked and you can leave what didn't. Right? I get it. I wish there was something new. I want that feeling of playing Mass Effect again.
You should try Elden Ring,
where it's like a new universe.
Yeah,
that's why people love Elden Ring, though. Yeah. Like, people still want it.
Yeah,
clearly, you have a unique world. All of these characters have never been seen before.
Yep,
and people love it, and it paid off for them.
Yeah,
so it's possible, but you have to be willing to do it, and you have to put the effort in. Right. So that's a great point. That to me, that proves my point.
How would you feel about something like so God of War, right? Obviously, well-established property.
Yes.
But for all intents and purposes, redone to
again. I think that's another genius way to do it. Like, there's ways to do the remakes or continuations,
right?
But I think God of War is another example of like that's a genius. Way to do it.
What happens if you took Gears of War and now it's a first-person shooter? Or you took Halo and now it's a cover shooter where it's a third-person action game?
I don't think God of War was doing that. It's still an action game.
But it's a different perspective. It's more intimate.
Yeah, sure. But I think that the narrative is the biggest difference, or the tone is the biggest difference that they made. Not necessarily. Like, I understand the combat is different from the first 3 to 4, but
they gave Kratos a soul, basically.
Yeah,
and like a personality. So,
but it makes sense. Like, they did it beautifully.
Yeah, but why is that okay for him and not Chief?
Because it's a continuation. It's not they didn't redo anything. Everything that happened, God of War 1 through 3, is canon, and he struggles with that, and that's an amazing emotional journey. But Kratos was never a silent protagonist. He was a loud, brash, Spartan, who's in your face, and then you have this time that passes, and he has age and wisdom that comes with, like, that makes perfect sense. Chief has never been complex. Chief has never been
right, but why can't he? Why can't he be complex? Why can't he kind of start? Because like he clearly shows like okay, I gotta get Cortana back. I gotta save her. Like whatever. Like
because I think that and he can. I think I'm always of the theory that anything with enough creativity and thought put into it can work.
Right.
You can find it. That's like my D&D theory, and I think that applies to literally anything.
So
you can find a way. But I think it lends itself better to God of War because even though God of War has always been like a hack and slash, like the original 3 or whatever, there was always the politics that were built into it. There was always the gods betraying Kratos. There was always like that narrative element there.
Yeah.
Whereas in Halo, it's always been pretty straightforward.
I think I would say they both were. I think it's just a product of the time. I guess my thing is like, if you're going, and this is where it might sound like I'm talking out two sides of my mouth, but like, if you're going to do a prequel or if you're going to go back to the original one, then the only way that I personally am like excited about something like that, I'm not saying it couldn't be a good game, but like, the only way I get excited is if you're not trying to slot something into an existing thing, but you're just like, hey, enough time has passed that it's like we want to explore other ways of bringing life into the world or the character or whatever like that. And I think that's what I'm looking for, like, because that's what's new. It's not a rehash.
A Kratos. You can make Chief a character, essentially.
Yeah,
you can make him a deep character. You can go that route.
But
you just have to. It just has to be done well.
But it's new, but that's what I'm saying is like if you're talking about newness, but you're skating the line between a new property or an established property with a new.
Yeah, I understand
twist.
what you're saying. Like, I get that, and I think an established property with a new twist is good. But I would like just a new property.
Sure,
I
don't think anyone has the balls to do it. I think that's the problem.
Elden Ring did it.
It's not sure. Like they
how is it?
It's not. It's the same.
It's the same style, but it's a totally different universe. They came up with their own lore. Like, there's a ton of lore in that. Like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I respect that a ton.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, it's still within a Souls-like, and I know people are like.
No, I disagree with that because that's just the style of the game.
Yeah,
that's not anything has to do with the world.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Like, I want a new world.
Yeah.
Like, I want to feel like I did when I discovered Mass Effect, and it's like all these aliens are new.
Yeah.
And all these planets and how it's structured and how things work. And it's like discovering that, the ins and outs of the universe or the world or whatever.
Yeah.
I just love that feeling. And it's like, because we know more or less how things work in Halo. We know more or less how things work in Gears or even God of War at this point.
Yeah,
right?
But wouldn't that be interesting to know? Like, we know the established world, but to completely change, because like I would argue with God of War, like we knew God of War, and this is completely different because it's like it's a whole new setting, it's the whole new gods, it's a whole new interaction, it's a whole new way of going about it, which I think is why it's so good. Where it's like you can keep the established characters, but to put them into something new, I think is what's really cool and powerful. Where it's like if they do that with Gears or Halo, and I know we're on Microsoft specifically, but like that could be really like, I mean, that's
yes, anything. I agree. That could be,
you could redo Killzone, you could redo Resistance,
you could do whatever. Yeah. God of War has shown it's possible,
right?
To reignite a series from a different perspective and be very successful, and that's fine. And I hope they do that. Like, it's not like I'm not going to play Halo if that happens, or Gears or whatever,
right?
Killzone or whatever you want to say. I just wish there was more new property.
I guess, like, what's the last excited, like, what was the last new property you can think of that you were personally excited about? I understand that you call Elden Ring the
right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'd have to like sit here and think about, like, I have no idea. Everything's a sequel. Everything's a remake.
But that's because we were in a certain time where it's like, hey, here's new like a generational jump or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that just comes down to our age and when we, as if we're the same age, but like when we were playing it and when we were like these new things were hitting. And I just think that you're never gonna, and maybe this is just my pessimistic view of it, is like, I don't think we're ever going to hit that again.
It's possible. It has to be.
I don't know, man.
Dude, throughout history, things are fucking new. Like, books were new. There were new books that came out that were new properties.
But we're not going to hit that the same way.
Oh, like us as individuals
at our age.
Yeah, maybe I'm just trying to recapture the magic.
I think that's what it is.
But I believe, as an optimist.
Sure. I mean, God of War is the last one that I was like, oh my gosh. Like, if you want to talk about a new
I'm
world,
talking new.
Then I think Horizon would be that would be my.
Yeah, Horizon is a great example.
Sure.
That was new and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good pick.
But that comes around once every, so it's like, okay, cool. Like,
did you play Ghosts of Tsushima?
Not yet.
Tsushima?
No, not yet.
That was another one that was very good. I mean, PS5 again is like, or PlayStation.
Yeah.
Seems to be the ones that go for the narrative focus, like new games. And again, we're discounting all the indie games that have come out that have been very good as well.
Right.
Where I will give you that. Like, that's where the innovation again is coming from, or the newness, I should say.
Yeah.
So totally get that. But I do want like that new thing where it's like, wow, I hope they make a sequel to this. I hope this is going to be a big thing. This is the next big thing, so.
I know it's very recency bias, but like, I was like, man, Halo's pretty cool. Just generally speaking.
No,
like,
dude, I love Halo. There's a reason why we fell in love with it and all of that.
So out of all the summer stuff, because I know we're already like an hour in, of all the summer, what's your number one? You can only pick one.
Oh,
What's your number one most excited thing?
Okay, let me pull up the list real quick just to.
Mine is Doom.
Doom?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that one, like in terms of what I'm most excited for and don't think I'll be let down or disappointed by, it's Doom.
This might be a little curveball for you, but it might be Civilization.
Yeah, sure.
7.
Yeah.
Because I was really into 5, and I'd never got my footing in 6. I tried, so I'm hoping like 7 I can really get back in because
like ground floor.
Yeah, exactly. Like because I was a little late on 6. I didn't really jive with it at first, and then I would try again. But then by the time you're doing that, you're like very behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, ground floor. Like I'm in with everyone else.
Like you and I are. Like we actually have like a game going and stuff.
Because that's what I did with. Well, actually, my experience with 5 was a little different. Like I played with Calvin on 5, and he really taught me the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was different. But I think it would be exciting to be ground floor, even with an expert like Calvin who's played since like 3.
Yeah.
You know. We're all learning together. I like that.
It's cross-platform,
yes,
day one.
Yes,
like there's no barrier as far as that goes.
I
like,
love
really
Civ. Civ is such a fun game, just relaxing. You just get to build an empire, dude. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's very strategic. Like, and then you start playing against each other on like, okay, like what, you know.
And then you can work with each other, and I love Civilization's a great game.
I can't wait for Calvin to send me a snap like, hey, I'll, do you want to form an alliance against Jon? Be like, yes, of course I do.
He's usually pretty good. He doesn't usually destroy me, but there's been a couple times where he's run me over. I'll never forget when he was playing England. It was his best victory ever.
Yeah.
He was going for some other victory like diplomacy or something, but then someone was beating him and he like built all these ships.
Yeah.
So every civ gets like a unique unit. Mm-hmm. So Britain is it's like a ship of the line, I think it was called. So in the not the industrial era, but like before that, because it's like a wooden ship. Okay. But anyways, like some era, you get this like power spike because you have a really good ship. He just wipes out the country that was like beating him in diplomacy. Yeah. And he's like, wait a minute. I could just go over here and take them. And it's just like the dominoes are falling. So I'm playing France on the other side of the world. And he's like, oh, I just took out these guys and those guys. And I'm like going for tourism. So I got like the Leaning Tower of Pisa and fucking, you know, the Eiffel Tower, and everyone's coming to visit.
Yeah.
And then all I see on the horizon is just this armada. And I'm like, hey, Calvin, I see a lot of your ships and they're coming for me.
Don't worry about it. It's fun.
Oh, it's, you know, standard military operation. He just wipes me out. So I'll never forget that. But yeah, I think Civ, dude.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah. Civ looks really, really cool. But Perfect Dark looked cool too. Yeah. Nate was like, we had opposite takes. He liked Fable.
Yeah.
And I was not impressed with Fable.
No.
And I really liked Perfect Dark. I think that's a great, we talk about like rebooting something. I think that's a great, something that's been dormant that people did like, that was kind of like, I don't even remember the games, but I
mean, that's 360.
Remember them as like being pretty like one note.
Yeah, it was like they really wanted to be GoldenEye.
Yeah,
basically.
right.
Yeah.
That's a great opportunity to like add some depth and flavor. So, anyways, I know that kind of goes against everything I was saying.
I mean,
wanting something new, but like if you're gonna do that, I think that's a great property.
New and there wasn't freaking parkour.
Right? Yeah. That's the ability to like. We have technology now. We have a baseline foundation of what this was, but it's not as like ingrained as like a Gears where there's 5 games that have been coming out. It's like this has been dormant. Let's revive it.
I think a lot of that comes down to like the developers too. Like, I mean, how many actual developers from Gears 1 are still on the project?
Right, exactly.
You know?
Halo, that's another
Bioshock,
thing you battle with. Yeah.
So like I get it. I understand the rationale of like, oh, the team wanted to like wet their feet. Like, as Microsoft, and you're like, okay, Gear 6 is going to be like, when you put a number to a game, that just says something from a marketing standpoint. That says something.
Right.
I completely understand them being like, maybe you do a prequel first. Then if it fails, like it's not like wrecking the entire, you know, series. But I don't know. I mean, that's 343 Studios. Like they remastered, like they did Master Chief Collection before they went in and did 4.
Right.
Like, so I get it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So I don't know. Civ 7. I was trying to see if there's anything else.
Yeah.
There was that one game. I can't remember what it's called though. I thought it was really cool.
It looked cool, but it's an unknown quantity. Yeah, it's an unknown thing.
That's exciting.
Sure.
Could be anything.
Yep.
Well, it was something. There was a number in it, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Called? Oh, maybe it was Xbox Showcase.
It was definitely Xbox Showcase that you were.
Yeah, Expedition 33. Man, it looked cool. They showed gameplay. It was turn-based, which is like a novelty these days. It looked good.
Yeah.
they were saying some weird things, which is interesting. It's intriguing. It's very intriguing.
Sure.
I just want something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you're right though. I want. We lived through the golden age, dude. It was like.
Yeah, I mean,
some of the greatest properties ever made came out when we were coming up.
It was just a perfect storm.
It was. Yeah. Oh, the Wonder Stop. Only because the guy who did Stanley Parables on that.
Oh,
and I love the Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool game.
Yeah, it's going to be a interesting...
It looked so weird. At first I was like, oh, another farming sim or whatever.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they said, maker of this, I was like, it's going to get wild.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways... yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I try to be optimistic. Maybe sometimes it doesn't come across that way, but I just want to have fun. I just want to love games, man. I just want to love games again. Not that I don't love games now, but it's like every property. It's like I have to sit and think. When is the last time I went to the movies and saw something that's not a sequel?
Yeah.
Not a spinoff. Unique. That I had a good time and I saw.
Yep.
It's like Ford versus Ferrari?
Dune
which is
1.
like... Yeah, Dune, sure.
Yeah.
But even Dune's like based off a book.
Yeah.
Which, not exactly counts, but like not unique. And Ford versus Ferrari, like, yeah, that's based on real life, so sure. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Nothing's
tough.
new under the sun.
Nothing's new, I guess. Yeah. It's tough. It's risky. I get it.
Yep.
And budgets are bigger. I think that's like a problem too. Like budgets have gotten so large.
You have to.
You can't take the risk.
Yeah.
Or you're going to bankrupt yourself, right? Yep. So it's like it's a catch-22.
The people that are still in it for creativity, and this is a broad statement. I'm sure, like I understand developers will put love and passion and stuff, but companies are looking at the bottom line for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like that's where you get like, okay, like what's a sure thing?
Yeah.
What can we risk? What is the acceptable risk?
Yeah.
Law. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
All right. What else we got?
Well, it's, staying within the video game realm, I wanted to talk about Yakuza a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm still early on because the game's pretty long, but I'm probably maybe like a fifth of the way through.
Okay.
It's like a 60-hour game, maybe. It's fun. It's definitely fun. It's a wild game, which I knew. Like that was a known quantity going in that it was going to be wacky and wild.
Infinite wealth. You say that?
Infinite wealth. Yeah.
Infinite wealth. Yeah.
So I wish I played Like a Dragon because there's definitely I'm losing something. There's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of characters. Now, do I need that to understand what's going on? No, but I think that would have enhanced it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would like to know, just as like the reviewer in me, like there's all these things that are being introduced gameplay wise, and I want to know what's being brought back from the first one and what's new. So that's another thing. But
as I understand it, the combat is very different from the first one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no reference.
It's a little bit more action. Like it's not turn-based.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is turn-based, but you get to move around and...
No, right. What I'm saying is, and I don't know if it's Like a Dragon. I know some of the Yakuza games are like it's an action game.
Yeah. So my understanding is like the earlier ones, were action games. Yes, right. And this was turn-based, but I think the first Like a Dragon was turn-based.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was the big shift.
Yep, and this one's a little bit more in depth because I think they're like contextual stuff is added. And
it's
just a little bit more.
I think they've probably added, but I need to go back and look again for the reviewer standpoint. Like, what's the evolution?
Yeah,
so I kind of can understand that. But it's a lot of fun. I do actually really like the combat. I think it's a very interesting mix of turn-based and a little action elements because you can move around, you can set yourself up, you can knock them into teammates, you can pick up objects. So it's cool.
There's a lot of QTE stuff where like you can actually like block and
exactly. So I do like that mixture of like keeping you in, because that's one of the downsides to turn-based obviously is that it gets very there's nothing to engage you. It's very just like strategic, which some people like, but this tries to marry both those ideas where you're actively having to press buttons and to do more damage, right?
Right.
And so I think that's interesting. So the game is just so wacky, dude.
Yeah.
And I love it. I mean, it's right up my alley, right? It's just the Japanese over the top wackiness.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, how do you, like, I'm literally playing while you're on Discord with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, there's this whole mechanic in the game, for example, where it's Pokemon. It's just a total Pokemon ripoff. Mm-hmm. And it's just like homeless people, though, or like criminals.
Which is kind of crazy that's like it seems icky, right? Like it seems like you're like catching homeless people and then having them like
catching them. You're like convincing them to fight for your team.
Sure, but like you're pitting homeless people against each other seems a little.
It's like an underground Pokemon League, where it's just homeless people. Not homeless. It's not. They're not all homeless. They're like criminals, I think.
Yeah,
and stuff. But not. Anyways, it is the funniest shit though.
Yeah,
like this guy was like flashing us, and he's like a Pokemon.
Yeah,
and he has like moves where he flashes people. It's like a certain type of. It's like hilarious.
And
that's one aspect of the game.
Yeah,
it's like there's just so much stuff.
Well, you're playing like poker and mahjong and
I'm playing poker and shogi, like actual shogi. I have no idea how to play, and I got destroyed.
Yeah,
it's like Japanese chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, it is cool though. You know that stuff's like right up my alley.
Yeah.
Just the over the top. It's really funny, and I think it's not too much though, because I know like people like. You, for example, like anime is like way too over the top and
can be, yeah.
But this, I think, does a good balance of like it is wacky, but it's still grounded, as in like within the realm of possibility.
I mean, I only played like 90 minutes of it, right? Like, and I think that it was actually a lot more grounded than I was expecting.
Yeah. I think the voice acting is excellent. Mm-hmm. I think it looks really good as well. So
it's very clean.
Yeah,
like it's not like it's. I would say it's maybe a little older looking. I think generally speaking, like it looks good.
Yeah,
I think it's a little stiff. Like it's very like the animation, like the walking around and stuff.
Sure,
like, it's good. It is a little. It's very video gamey, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But
I think the style of it though is very consistent, and I think it looks good in that context.
Yeah.
Like sometimes dialing it back a little bit for like consistency and.
It runs really well.
Yeah,
so, like,
it runs
absolutely,
well.
go
the
for
performance is very good, right? So I think there's definitely something there, and I think the character models look great. Like I think
they absolutely
people look like people.
Yep.
Like sometimes in video games you get like people that just look so beautiful, and not that people in this game look ugly, but they look like people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And not
like
everyone's chiseled. Not everyone has.
Yeah,
like,
there's like I like that. There's different body types. There's blemishes and like wrinkles on people's faces and you know, kind of I don't know, so I like that. It makes me like, it feels like real life a little bit in that aspect of it. But there's a million mini games, there's always something to do, and they're so crazy. Like there's the summoning system in that game. It's this whole hilarious sequence where it's like you're trying to find this chick and some dude is like, oh, she works for this company called what's it called? It's called I totally can't remember it, but it's like let's just call it like Chicks for Hire or something. And it seems like a prostitution thing.
Sure.
And so you call them, and then they send this chick who you think is the person you're looking for, and it's just this buff chick.
Yeah.
And then she shows up and like beats up all these guys who like come and or like try to fight you. And apparently this whole thing is like for calling people in to fight for you.
Oh, nice.
It's like a whole misunderstanding. So that's like the summoning system.
Yeah.
Like you meet these people and then they're part of this like hotline where you call them, and it is the funniest thing. Like I totally butchered the delivery. It's like how they do it is so funny, but I was just like this game has just made me laugh so much.
That's good. People love it, man. Yeah.
Not easy to do.
Yeah.
Like especially in games, you know. Like it's not easy to be funny.
Would you say this is something that's, I mean, I understand it's a sequel, but it's new to you. So like is this something that's like a new novel approach that like is scratching your itch a little bit?
Yeah, I think definitely that's part of it. But again, it's, you know, this is like the 8th one in the series, so it's not a new, but it is new to me.
Right.
And I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. again, I would have. It would have been really nice for me to play the first one, but I just didn't want to go through that whole game and then this one. That would have been a lot at once. So yeah, I'm losing something, but all in all, I'm having a really good time, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But yeah, I really like the characters. I like. It's just. I've said this a lot in the last game. I said this for, I think, was like Resident Evil. It's just like a video game.
Yeah.
It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a bunch of wacky things. Like I literally am like delivering food to people.
Right.
But I have to do, it's like this Tony Hawk-esque where you have to do tricks because we are extreme deliveries and we're extreme, and I'm like fucking doing backflips and shit while throwing hamburgers at people. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Just have fun.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And that's what it does. And I love that. It's like, it doesn't have to be crazy serious. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking graphics. It doesn't have to be whatever. It's like, remember a time when we just played video games and we suspended disbelief a little bit,
right,
for the fact of just having fun. And it's capturing that for me, which is a good feeling.
Good.
Yeah. So
I got sucked into Diablo, so that's
how's that going? Off. The new season.
It's fine.
Season of loot.
Yeah.
You getting a lot of loot?
Loot Reborn.
The Loot's Reborn.
Yeah. It's just a lot of quality of life stuff that they added. Like, it's a little reductive, but like everything just feels a little bit better. It's a little bit more rewarding, that sort of thing. You have a little bit more, like, it's easier to make really cool builds without having to like hoard a bunch. Like, up to this point, it's like I'm hoarding every legendary because I got to break them all down and then keep those crystals so that I can imprint on other items and things.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, tear down everything and it just keeps track of it for you, and then whenever you want to put it on another piece of gear, you can. Again, being really reductive, but it feels really good, and it always feels like you can change builds fairly quickly and be like right, like you don't have to like re-get all kinds of gear and different things like that. But I'm enjoying it. I'm like level, I think 91 out of 100, so I'm almost done with it. But then that's even like, that's when the real game begins, because then they have like new they have the pit, which is essentially what's in Diablo 3, where it's like you just run through it as fast as you can, get to the end, and like you just push rifts basically, and just get like stronger and stronger and better loot and different things. You can always like, you use that currency to like level up your gear by like 5% every time. You know, it's the returns are getting like, you know, diminishing returns type of thing. But like if you really want to go for it, you can, which is cool. I like it. I think generally speaking, it's a good, like, I haven't played, I missed last season because I was like, it's not really for me. So this was a nice return. And I like the fact that most of the stuff happening is like permanent changes. It's not like this is only for this season and then it's going to go away type of thing. Like, it's like, oh no, hey, we heard the community and like, this is what we're updating. And they've retold a lot of stuff based off community, which they have to, because like you have Path of Exile coming out. Like they really need to get their stuff together, and it seems like generally speaking they do. But there is an aspect to Diablo 3 where like you could just kind of do it infinitely. And Diablo 4, there still is this level of like, all right, well, like once I hit level 100, I can push some rifts, I can do some other stuff, and they added some like end game stuff. And maybe Kyle knows more than I do, or maybe it's more rewarding than what I'm expecting. But at the end of the day, you're still running the same dungeons. You're still running, you know, like you're still doing a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
They might have dressed it up a little bit differently, but I finally unlocked the randomized part. So it's like you go to the pillar and you put it in, and you do that. But in order to get that, you still have to do I'm going to say it's not boring, but like after you've done it for seasons, it kind of gets boring. You still have to do that to then do the new content. So I'm butchering it. There's a lot of cool stuff there. They're doing a lot of smart decisions.
Yeah.
But to me, again, this is my curmudgeon, like pessimistic view, is like the stuff that they're doing is like getting it to Diablo 3 like level. Like they haven't, in my mind, they really haven't surpassed too much. The new system of putting, you know, legendary like affixes and different things like on gear is better than 3, so like that's cool. But it's like, okay, and they added pets, so like now you don't have to go and grab your gold,
right?
So like now you just have a little dog, or I got the expansion already. So like maybe the new expansion comes out October. Maybe that will add a lot of cool stuff. So I think Diablo's in a decent place right now. Do I think that it's like I'm very excited for Path of Exile. Like I'm very excited to see what it is. But we'll see. I think overall, if you've been away from it for a while, this is a good time to jump into it for sure. But yeah, so it's I can't read anything on PlayStation because my eyes are bad and the UI is pretty small, but it is nice to be able to just like play it on PlayStation, and then I get down on my computer and I'm literally in the exact same spot with the exact same stuff. Like Tekken ain't like that. Tekken, it's like 2 different games.
Yeah,
so
right.
There is a nice continuity. Like I feel like I can just play it anywhere and I'm never missing a step, and I can just, I'll just do one dungeon. Okay, cool. Oh, Penny's crying. Cool. I'll take care of her and come back to this later or whatever. And it's really, really good for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad you're liking it. That's good. So this would be like, I know there's like an A and B team based on
that's what Kyle was saying.
Yeah.
So I guess
this is the A team, I guess.
Yeah, this is the one that did. So you had season, like it started, then you had kind of like season 1, which was kind of like meh.
Yeah.
Then they came out with Season of Blood, which was, so it's like the game launched.
Yeah.
Then you had like the B team doing like a filler season, then season 2, then filler season, and now season 4, I guess. I think this is season 4. So yeah, it seems like the one team is focused more on like they're introducing like actual quality of life mechanical things, where the previous ones are just kind of like it's new seasonal stuff, but there wasn't anything that really changed the overall game.
Right.
Again, I didn't really play. I went through the content. Like I think actually even last season I got to level 100. I think maybe it was the season before that, but regardless, I did it. I beat the seasonal content, but it wasn't very fulfilling.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think this one actually has even less seasonal content than the other ones, story wise. Like it's just like, I don't know, go to the Helltide and keep fighting. That's all it was. Very like it was. I think the least out of all of them.
Yeah.
But they added so much other stuff that improved the game as a whole and like quality of life as a whole that I think that's why it's like cool and it's like bringing me in to do stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So that's what's been keeping me.
Have you played Elden Ring yet?
No, I haven't installed.
You're going to do it?
I'm going to try it.
Are you to the point? I know you have to be to a certain point to be able to do the DLC, right?
You have to put like level 64 or something.
I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't buy the DLC. There's no way I'm doing that. But
oh, you're not doing the DLC.
You have to play the game significantly
that's what I was
before
saying.
that. Yeah.
So you're going to play the game, and then if it hooks you, then you'll get to the DLC.
I'm going to play the game. I'm going to try. Jeff gave me a guide that's like, here's the easy guide, or here's the, whatever. So I'm going to try looking at a guide. Because before I was like, I just wanted to like experience it.
Right.
And I'm like, this sucks. So I'm going to look at the guide. I'm going to be like, okay, like how do I get overpowered where it's like, it's still a challenge, but I'm not like just so, it's so slow, man. Like that's the thing is like, if you die and you go back, it takes you 9 years to get back to where you were. It's like, that's the thing that annoys me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try it. We'll see. Like I love the aspect of it, and I truly do love the exploration part of it.
Yeah,
which I think Elden Ring does a really good job, and I think really I would say the first Zelda I was more into than the second one, but they both do it so well.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I'm looking for. I just want a game that's not crazy high barrier to entry, because it's like I'm not the guy that's going to beat my head against the wall for 300 rounds against the boss. I'm just not. Like I don't. That's not enjoyable to me. I respect people that find enjoyment there, and like if you want to say that I'm a casual gamer or whatever, like I don't care, whatever. But I have very little time. Like I would rather progress and see other stuff, and I like exploring things and discovering things. I don't necessarily need to have like my head caved in every. Like if I walk 5 feet, I don't want to be like, oh, is there going to be like some trick thing of like a bird swoops down out of the sky and knocks me off a cliff is like a haha, we got you type of thing. Like that's not fun to me. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, it's open mind.
Yeah. Well,
maybe this is it.
There's a part of me that's like, man, if I just like, what if Elden Ring was just that was all I did? It's just really like sat down.
You've had
and
this
was
thought
like,
before.
Yeah, and then I'll
Spoiler
play
alert.
it, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I'll probably play Mini Shoot Adventures next.
I'm waiting for you to become a League of Legends master still, because that's what you kept saying.
Well, I need something that's flexible. I need to be able to like.
Not a flexible game.
I need to.
Yeah, Elden Ring would work. You could just.
I'm still terrified to log into Tekken because
Really?
it's like we haven't played in like weeks.
Yeah, we haven't played in a while.
And like that's when I'm trying a new character. So now I'm between characters where it's like I stopped playing Law weeks before, played a little bit, but I started a new character, but now I forget Law and her. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah, let me know how that goes.
I will, yeah.
But, I don't know.
What else is on the list?
That was all we had, dude.
All right.
That was everything.
Yeah.
I think we covered the gambit. But, yeah, we'll keep playing stuff, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo's scratching a certain itch, but I need to start branching out because, like, before you know, I mean, we're halfway through the year. Like, we actually have to have some stuff ready to go for Game of the Year and whatnot.
I mean, I'm on.
You're doing way better than I am.
I'm on pace here a little bit. I have. Let me go to my games here. I had this pulled up earlier.
I'm at the very, very end of Little Guardsman's. I can actually.
Yeah,
finish
is that going well?
Yeah, it's a cute game. It's
I
fun.
have 7 games I played this year,
Nice. Okay.
and Yakuza is going to be 8.
Yeah, I have a lot of like indie stuff. I mean, technically, I want to play Hades, but I don't want to play Hades if it's not going to count for anything.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I mean, you can play it, give us your thoughts, but I'm gonna hold off.
There are other
till it
things
releases.
I can do for that. Yeah.
I generally just don't like early access. I want the game to be released. I want to know that, because I feel like with an early access game, I'm going to get like an expectation, and then it'll change, and I just want to know like this is it. This is what I'm doing.
Here's the irony there is like there are plenty of games that are released that are just released in such a crappy state that they should have been early access.
I know. Do the early access. Like Baldur's Gate is a perfect example of the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
Where you actually take years to get community feedback and you
but Baldur's
adjust.
Gate, I wouldn't do.
I wouldn't play it.
Yeah.
But is that game better for doing it that way? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do your early. I'm not against early access. I just personally don't like playing it. Like I want it to be the final build, and this is what it is, and I'm surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's new for me. So like, if I would have played Baldur's Gate, I would have had that first chapter. I would have known a lot of it, right? And then I would have seen all the changes. But so it's just what you prefer.
Yep.
It's not a right or wrong way to do it.
I think the difference there is like Baldur's Gate is very narrative driven, like RPG type thing, and then Hades is like just by the nature of it being a roguelike, I can wrap my head around something like that where I'll be more inclined to play a early access roguelike where like you're just meant to be playing it over and over again anyway. Where Baldur's Gate, like, and I know plenty of like, I mean, Nate's played it a million times, but like, for like a narrative driven game, like RPG, like I want to play through it one time and just experience it all at once.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So, yeah, we'll see, but yeah, I gotta finish Like a Dragon. It's a long game.
Yeah.
I don't know what else, like, what's coming out that we're looking forward to. Like, Space Marine comes out.
Star Wars comes out
later. Star Wars, which I'm actually less excited about now after seeing more of it, which is pessimistic, I know.
Doom
but the shooting just didn't look good.
Is Doom next year or this year?
Doom,
yeah. Might be next year.
Next year, yeah. It's definitely not. I got to play Alan Wake 2.
Dragon Age.
Definitely want to play the
DLC.
DLC.
I love how I bought it. It's installed. Like there's there's so much stuff.
Installed it too, but yeah.
I will say Penny is starting to actually sleep now throughout like a stretch. So like if we wanted to do Gears or if we wanted to do whatever, like I can put her down and I actually feel pretty confident that from like maybe like 8:30, like whenever I end up feeding her, to usually between like 12 and 1, I'm actually like solid and she's just down, which is awesome.
Yeah, we can work through Gears. I know that didn't come out this year, but still something to.
Yeah, I would love to go through the Infinite campaign with you, like for Halo
Infinite,
where I would love to see just what that is.
What that's like.
How do you have 2 grappling hooks? You know what I mean? Like that'd be cool.
That
just
would
to
be
like,
interesting.
how does that work? But,
the Nintendo showcase. We didn't talk about that at all, but
yeah,
I was looking at the games coming out. The Zelda game actually looks interesting to me.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I was like, huh.
It's very.
I could see myself.
They redid one of them in that style.
Jumping into that. I think this is new, right? This
one's a new one, but they're using the
one.
same style as the one that they remade.
Oh,
which
I see.
Is like, I think it's like Link's Awakening.
Sure.
I could be wrong, but yeah.
I was like, huh. I'm very intrigued, but not very intrigued, but I'm intrigued enough by that.
Sure.
And Assassin's Creed is coming out. I'm sure we'll play that.
Yep.
Probably, but yeah. Okay. I mean, there's some stuff.
I think a lot of it is just like I need to just load something up. The moment I sit down and I start looking at the library, and then I just don't actually hit launch on anything. But when I hit launch, I play the heck out of it. That's why I like Diablo so easy because I just hit it and I can like just
jump
dick around in it. It's fine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we had.
Cool.
You made it this far. We appreciate that. Check us out. CouchCompany.games. We have all our stuff on there. Reviews, the podcast itself, top 5s. We haven't done a top 5 in forever.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there, but
have the videos up there now too.
Yeah. So check us out there, and we're gonna be here, same time, same place next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch. Peace.